Hi, greetings and welcome. Welcome to my vlogs, my autobiography. I hope you've enjoyed it so far. You see the ups and downs of match fishing, in particular the World Championships. And as I said last year in Yugoslavia, we've seen Bob Nutt become world champion. Again, unfortunately, the Welsh team bombed out a little bit. Now, it didn't go down that well back home, to be honest. But this year, Hungary, Siege, 1991. Now, this year saw a dramatic change in the Welsh setup. Because, I was still smarting a little bit from the previous year, when John Mayers took the decision to take more anglers than needed. Anyway, subsequently ended up with the team fishing eliminators, to select the team. Now, in my opinion, it's not the way forward. There's always going to be one disappointed angler. And bear in mind, the cost for anglers at that time was around about £1,000 a time. So, plus all the effort involved, So anyway, perhaps I felt that, a new manager should take the helm, as we were now holding our own with the elite anglers in the world, so I thought. So I'm going to tell you now, it was probably one of the biggest mistakes I ever made in my match fishing career, but I'll tell you more about that now in a minute. Yes, a fishing friend I've already mentioned from the Cardiff Nomads took a great interest in me becoming a new manager, because it was John Mayer's time for re-election. And as it happened, anyway, I tell you, it was Doug Hornblow from Cardiff who showed the interest. And I believe it was from the previous year when, as a club, Cardiff Nomads, we qualified for the World Club Championships, and due to our team winning the Welsh National, Doug came along to Yugoslavia too, just to see the score, and see what it was all about, see whether he'd be interested in perhaps putting his name forward. Anyway, I thought, Doug could probably improve the running of the team, especially now that we had good sponsors, sponsorship with Shimano and a few other companies. I thought, well, yeah, maybe we do need a change of manager. But little did I realise that, what was about to unfold. Anyway, toting for votes back in Wales, I followed Doug around all the clubs, all the North Wales clubs and South Wales, backing Doug, thinking that, I could have a better influence on the team, perhaps, especially in tactics and things like that, which I'd already been doing anyway. But how wrong, how wrong. Things were going to change big style. Yeah, so I said, so Doug ended up, as I say, manager this year, and he picked a team which I thought, I don't know whether it was political, but anyway. But of course, I was still in the team. Spud Murphy, he came into the team. Clive Roberts, he managed to stay in the team as well. But then they brought in Eric Humphreys from North, who I never rated as an angler, but that's my own version. And then another young lad, Gary Swain. So that was it. We had our bare five. Perhaps in hindsight we should take in an extra man, but anyway, that's another story. Now, I got the greatest respect for Doug, as a successful businessman, believing, that if he put his business acumen to running the Welsh fishing team, then, we should be a formidable team for the coming years, I thought, As I said, and this year we travelled to Hungary. The venue is very similar to Plovdiv in Bulgaria, and we thought we could do very well. And we, throughout the practice, we found that we could catch huge amounts of perch on the whip using bloodworm. Knowing that we had a very productive bloodworm pond back home in Wales, Doug financed the cost, because he had a few bob, for one of the members, Clive Roberts, to go back home and scrape enough blood to him for the team, and at the same time recruit another budding Welsh angler, Paul Johnson, from Merthyr, which is in South Wales, to accompany him back. Okay, and so anyway, upon arriving back to Siege, with gallons of bloodworm, we thought we had it sussed, with perch filling our nets. I can remember, I don't know if you ever heard a net full of perch, but it's like a bristling noise, and when you lift the keep net out, it's like, bristles. But it was, we were catching that many. It was absolutely solid for some reason on the inside, on the whip. And we thought, with a couple of with Paul Johnson in particular, because he was renowned on the Wye for his big bags of bleak, and we thought, he could be, be an advantage for him to come into the team. Yeah, so anyway, as I mentioned before, in most venues we fish abroad, we've discovered many different species, and this venue was no exception. Apart from the usual skimmer and roach and carp, there was also a bleak-looking type of fish, but with teeth. It was a weird old fish, so you had to be careful when you unhook them. But fishing for these fish on the drop seemed to be the secret, especially if it got hard. And it was fortunate, that Doug's wife would come along for the trip, spotted an angler, a local angler, catching loads of these fish, plus roach, on the drop, She said, she didn't know much about fishing, but she said the local lad was throwing in maggots like as if it was raining, with all them dropping on the water. So we assumed that he was piling in lots of loose feed. So anyway, upon hearing this, we looked at this method and we thought, I wonder if we could catch a few. And we came up with the idea of a long tail drop with a float, and using an extra long bristle, I managed to swap these floats for instead with Trabucco from Italy for a bag of casters. As I mentioned before, our Welsh lads, we were fantastic maggots, and we turned some great casters. And at the time we got very friendly with the Italian team. They were a friendly bunch of anglers really, and they were always keen to see how we were doing, the Welsh, because we talked to them, where England were probably a bit more aloof. Using this long drop method, or long tail drop, worked well. However, we had to follow the new manager's advice and fish as a team plan. I just knew things weren't going to be good anymore. So anyway, I had to follow suit and concentrated on the perch on the inside, on the first day, knowing that an individual place was going to probably be sacrificed, So I thought, there you go. Anyway, so as we know, when you fish practices, and when it comes to the match conditions, never two are the same, and it was quite evident in this competition. The first day we saw, we struggled. In fact, all the anglers struggled for bites, and the elusive perch that we were catching abundance of disappeared. So it looked like a long pole seemed to be the best method. We did try the waggler, but for some reason the pole was better because of the drift on the water, I think. Anyway, now each year it was noticeable at this time, and I wondered why. I kept drawing the same section as Kevin Ashurst. Now we worked it out. This is probably due to Kevin's name or surname being Ashurst and mine being Branson. So that put us really on top of the team sheets, and it was something I didn't dawn on me until this year, And anyway, this match was no exception. Kevin was 2 pegs away from me, and Van Schendel, that I mentioned in my last vlog from Holland, he was between us. And anyway, fishing to the team plan, I found it very difficult to keep up, to keep the perch going, and for 3 hours. They just died, and the long pole, as I said, was the method. I was out of the race, basically, You know, Van Schendel next to me, he was flying, and so was Kevin Ashers, and it was you know, it was unlucky actually that Kevin lost a cap on that first day. You know, as the results showed afterwards, because losing that cap probably cost him the World Championships. But more about that in a minute. Okay, anyway, so not making the leaderboard on the individual and the team event on the first day, it was a disappointing to say the least, you know. And all the effort put in by the lads, you know. And it was inevitable that Doug and I had some words in that evening about the tactics, you know. Being mates and all that didn't count, you know, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, you know, you fish them my way or you don't, he said. So anyway, that was it. The second day event, we decided to change the tactics and adopt that heavy, loose feed approach that his wife happened to stumble on just a few days earlier. Anyway, for me, the match went like a dream. You know, I on the long pole, using that new type of float I mentioned, that I managed to swap with Trabuco, it worked like a dream. And I caught constantly throughout the match roach and bleak, you know, and those bleak type fish. And it worked, as I said, it worked extremely well. So fishing individually, you know, really, and not worrying about the team plan, because as I said, we were really out of it. But I did fish extremely well, I must admit, and catching on the longer 13 meters, I was in and out, it was non-stop. And when the short 3-hour match finished, I beat everyone around me. And in fact, not only did I win my section, I was pleasantly surprised. I also was the top weight on the second day. So it just goes to show you. Now, I often wonder, you know, if fate had dealt me some kind of bad luck in my fishing career, because, you know, under the old rules, SIFS rules, I would have been world champion again. But there you go. That's how it is. Our team did manage to pull back on the second day, by the way, after the first day's disaster. You know, by changing the method, we finished 6th overall, which is not a bad turnabout, really. Nevertheless, England shone through again, and Bob Nudd winning the individual title for the second year running. And unlucky for Big Kevin, as I mentioned, he lost that cap, and he ended up in silver position. You know, if he hadn't lost that cap, he would have probably won. But you know, sadly, I didn't get a mention about my second day winning performance, and I went unnoticed by everyone concerned, you know, after the prize giving. France won the team event with England and Italy tying for third. England winning on weight. I have to mention that Van Schendel of Holland came third, which is a great performance, as I was drawn next to him on the first day of the match. And I often wondered, well, what could have happened if I'd fished the long drop method on both days. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that because the sun's going down. As you see, it's starting to get dark, so I'll catch up with you on the vlog next time.